Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of my vlog about life in Switzerland. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about life in Switzerland if you're going to get a job and work here is if you come from the EU, like me, you will need to get yourself a work permit. Okay, so what you do is when you arrive, or maybe the day after, and you have found somewhere to live, you need to go to your place of work and collect your signed job contract, because without it, you cannot go to the town hall and you cannot collect your work permit. Here in Basel-Stadt, the work permits cost 66 francs for the work permits themselves and 25 francs for the paperwork, so that's 91 francs altogether, which is about £60 British money, which, yeah, that is quite a lot. So that's one of the first things you need to do when you get to Switzerland. Also, when you arrive in Switzerland, you have 3 months, well, 90 days to be precise, to find yourself a decent health insurance. Most people would recommend going on www.comparis.ch because then you could just fill in all your details and choose the deal that's best for you. As someone who is a type 1 diabetic, I've opted to pay slightly more because, well, you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow, can you really? So I went for one of the medium franchises, which is somewhere in the region of about 300 francs a month, roughly. The prices change every year, so if you arrive at the end of August, you'll be paying the rates for August 2016 up until December 2016. They will all be the same, but then they will get bumped up again in January. Also, to return to my earlier point of the work permits, ta-da! You need to make sure you sign the right work permit. I have got an L work permit, and that means that I will only be living and staying in Switzerland for only 1 year. There are other ones for if you want to stay for up to 5 years, and if you're doing stuff that's even shorter than a year, then there's another one for that as well. Also, if you happen to move accommodation in Switzerland like I did, you'll have to pay again to re-register your work permit, because your work permit actually comes with your Swiss address in, and it would not be valid if you decide to move at any point. Okay, with regards to picking a place before you actually arrive, you can either fly out maybe a couple of weeks before your job is about to start, and you can go to a hostel and join the site www.wgzimmer.ch, and this will give you all of the ratings for people on a budget, because Switzerland, it's very, very hard to find accommodation. As someone who's done a year abroad in France before, which was hard enough, Switzerland is a whole completely different ballgame, and it's a lot more difficult to get a place, especially if you live in a city like Basel. But wgzimmer.ch is absolutely amazing. It's quick and it's easy, and you can get really, really cheap places. Some places go for as little as 500 francs a month, which for Switzerland is cheap. 500 francs a month would be equivalent to about £350. So I don't think that's too bad. But you could also, if you want to be a little bit more fancy, go on a website called www.ums.ch. I stayed with them in my first flat, but my first contract was only for 5 months. However, there are some downfalls with this website which I cannot stress enough. These downfalls are you have to pay commission, and the commission is absolutely horrendous. It's horrendously high, but the properties are good. By horrendous, I mean if you're staying over a certain period of time, the commission goes up by 10% every month. So, for example, if you are staying for 5 months, you have to pay 150% of a month's rent as commission, and it's not exactly cheap. So I will warn you about that now. So if you really want somewhere good, I'll go for wgzimmer.ch. However, there is a good thing about Switzerland that is a lot better than the UK in some aspect, and I guess you could argue the same about the whole of Europe in this aspect as well. The public transport is dead cheap, it's efficient, it's always on time, there is rarely ever a problem with it. I pay 50 francs a month for a month pass for the whole town. It can even run you over the international borders into France and to Germany as well. So it's 50 francs a month, which is £37. It doesn't just cover buses, but it also covers trams and the boat network, because obviously Basel is located on the Rhine. So you can imagine Basel is extremely good for public transport. Another thing I would recommend, if you happen to be lucky enough to be under the age of, I believe, 27, but 25 is definitely true. If you want to go across the border into France, the rail passes cost €50 for the year. If you want to get a German rail pass, the German rail passes are a little bit more expensive. I have a second class 25% Bahncard. Anybody can buy these. You can be any age. You can be 18 years old. You could be 67. These cost €62 a year. And these are especially good for the international Eisbahn trains, which can take you all the way from Basel, here in the north of Switzerland, all the way to Berlin, Amsterdam. I think you can even cross the border into Denmark. I'm not entirely sure on that. However, the Swiss rail card, you have a GA card and a GA card only. The GA card costs around about 120 francs for the year, which, as you can see, is clearly a lot more expensive than the French and the German equivalents. Also, you can get a Gleis 7, and a Gleis 7 is for people in their early 20s, late teens. You can use these on the trains after 7 o'clock in the evening, and it gives you free travel. However, it bumps the price up considerably for a rail pass. Actually, I think it's even more expensive than 120 for the normal one, but don't quote me on that. And also, I did forget to mention that when you open a bank, it's just a standard procedure. It's a lot less complicated than the processes in France. All you really need to bring is your passport and the relevant documents that you would need to open a bank account. However, in Switzerland, there is a page in the contract where you have to declare whether you are a American citizen. I'm not entirely sure why this is. I think it's something to do with the American tax system. I don't really understand it. But if you're American, that's something you need to look into before you come over here. So that is a start to life in Switzerland. I'm only here for 1 more month because I started my contract back in September. So I am an English language assistant, by the way, in one of the local schools. And that takes me all the way from September until June. Over the coming days, the coming weeks, I will give you some more cultural, more fun things to talk about, more things that are job related for people who are doing British Council. But I think that I've given you a general introduction as to what to do before you arrive in Switzerland. So yeah, I'm going to sign off now, and hopefully you found the video useful. I'll be posting some more videos in the coming days. Sorry it's not one of the fancy videos. I am still rather amateur at this. But yeah, I hope to see you all soon. Bye!